While getting coached and having my replay analyzed the other day, I was basically told that
you're too slow,
amongst other problems. But I thought that being a slow player was just something I had to accept at this point because I failed to fix it in the past. Until... That said, I decided I'm going to solo 100 games of 3s, and along the way I would document every change in MMR, wins and losses, and notes to help me improve, which I'll be sharing with you guys today. At the start of this challenge, I was Diamond 3 Div 4, and by the end of it, I was able to reach Champ 2 by around game 80 or so. Now I know what some of you are thinking, how much could he really have learned considering I was already Champ 2 in 2s, but bear with me here, and let's take a look at the top changes I made in order to improve my game. Starting with a quick overview before diving into specific examples, number 1 is consistent rotations. This is a tricky one because 3s is where you can either build really good rotation habits or really bad ones. Number 2 deals with working with teammates better, especially in a solo queue environment. Number 3 pertains to clear decision making, which reduces hesitation and speeds up your game as a whole. Number 4 is changes in my boost management, and finally we'll talk about which mechanics grow faster in a 3s environment. Starting with rotations, it can be very tempting to cut rotation or be lax with them, especially in high pressure situations. This is a clip from one of my earlier games where you can clearly see that due to the lack of trust I have in my teammates, I rotate near post, causing a bump and us getting scored on. You never really know exactly how confusing it might look when you cut rotation, so let's take a look at this clip again, but from my teammate's point of view. And right here is where everything goes wrong, where my cut in rotation causes him to freeze up and mess up his clear, and to top it off, I also bump him into a river. That said, I saw huge improvements in my defense when I forced myself to go far post, even in those high pressure situations. Even if you don't trust in your teammates, trust in rotation itself. And ultimately, that can help your own performance by giving you better shots and more meaningful clears. And the topic of trusting your teammates brings number 2, how to deal with teammates. I used to be the type of player who believes that trust has to be earned, but there's a huge flaw in this, especially in solo queue when the game is only 5 minutes long. It's much harder to build trust than it is to lose it. So when time is of the essence, I've swapped my philosophy to trusting my teammates first and then adjusting my play as necessary as I recognize their mistakes and weaknesses. This has also led me to improve my rotations and reduce hesitation when going up for shots. Another problem you run into if you decide to play it safe at first is that if you eventually decide to trust your teammate and change your play accordingly, your teammate might not be expecting this change, and that can further induce problems and confusion. Moving on, we have clear decision making. Even if your rotations are good and you're at the right place at the right time, if you're rotating or performing certain moves in a confusing way, you might be the reason your teammates are making a confusing play in the first place. Taking another look at this clip but from a different perspective, even though my fake challenge was successful, it was bad in terms of clear decision making. Because when faking out my opponent, I also faked out my teammate, which could have potentially caused us to miss out on this goal. Once you've made a decision on what you want to do, stick to it and carry it out. Don't choose too many options at the same time. If you want the ball, go for the ball. If you're gonna go for a boost steal, go for a boost steal. Don't do multiple things, especially when you have teammates behind you. Go in, take your turn, and get out. This will also help you improve your rotation speed and your game speed in general. Let's watch that last clip again. You can see that here was when I let indecisiveness get the better of me. Fearing a double commit, I did not go for the ball as quick as I should have, forcing my teammate to go out of rotation, and ultimately it led to a double commit anyways. In conclusion, try your best to be clear in your decision making, to improve your game speed, and to help your teammates avoid creating confusing situations as well. Alright guys, number 4 is one that I still have trouble with, and that is boost management. Game speed isn't about how fast you're moving, but instead, how quickly you are where you need to be. And you're not going to be where you need to be if you're off going to grab boost somewhere whenever you need to be putting pressure on the ball. This is footage from one of my early games during the 100, and you can see that I use boost religiously. Basically every time I'm driving whatsoever, I'm using boost. I used to think that boost management mainly entailed making sure you grab pennies when you can and having good pathing so you don't need to go out of your way for the 100 boosts, but the part that I completely overlooked was using your boost in a smart manner. Luckily my coach pointed this out and I went and learned so much watching Rizzo's Road to GC, trying to watch when he uses boost. And what I've noticed is that he really only uses boost when he needs to. And by need, I mean you need boost when you're flying or if you're trying to beat someone to a wall. But when you do not need boost is when you're simply rotating or driving around when you're not the active player. So that said, boost management comes in two parts: pathing and grabbing pennies whenever you can, and smart boost usage. So if you need help regarding the first one, I have a tutorial linked in the description below. But regarding the second one, the best thing you could do is to just go watch some high level players, or like me, go watch Rizzo's Road to GC and compare how he uses boost to how you are in one of your replays. Are you using boost at times when you don't really need to? And lastly, the thing that improved through playing solo 3s was certain mechanics. I believe that each playlist can really help you focus on different mechanics. For example, 1s is really good when learning ground game and dribbling, but alternatively, I found 3s to be amazing when it came to getting better at aerials and recovery. Since they kind of go hand in hand, you mostly have to recover after performing an aerial. If you're already good at those, then this might not really apply to you, but as a predominantly 2s and 1s player, I just don't get enough exposure to doing aerials in a dynamic situation. It's almost like why people play deathmatch in Counter-Strike. You need more exposure to gunfights in order to get better at them. And if you're mostly a 2s player, then a lot of aerials you go for are most likely fairly safe, or anything that smells fishy, I would just drive under it and rotate out or fake the challenge. So before every session or whenever I hit a lose streak when playing these 100 games, I would do different aerial or passing training packs, or just fly around in the workshop maps. And I felt vastly different when it came to hitting shots I would never go for previously when I finally returned to playing 2s or 1s. For anyone who is curious, here's a breakdown of my 100 games and a chart of my MMR. I hit Champ 1 around game 13 and Champ 2 all the way down here at game 84. There are a ton of ups and downs, I'm not gonna lie, as you can see. At times, solo queue felt very bleak. I believe that if you're really trying to climb, then it's probably easier with a solid group of friends. But if you're trying to get better and you're just playing with the sole goal of getting better, then I see no problem with solo queue. It was actually extremely educational and I would highly recommend it. Hey guys, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I really didn't expect to learn so much within 100 games of 3s as I did, so this was a pretty awesome experience for me and I just wanted to share with you guys what I learned and hopefully it can help you as well. Maybe it'll inspire you to do the same thing. I definitely felt a significant difference in the main thing I wanted to work on, and that was hesitation. Hesitation was the biggest factor in negatively affecting my game speed, and it mostly boiled down to me hesitating due to those 5 things that I brought up. So if you liked the video and want to see more content, please like and subscribe and share the video. I could really use the help in getting more exposure, and I will catch you next time. Thanks again for watching.